It's time for the NCAA Tournament. Tonight, the Jacks will take on Baylor here in Waco at 7 and get a chance to talk to Year Haley Hoang as we get ready to go over to the gym for practice. And thanks, Haley, for being willing to sit and chat for just a second.
Of course, thanks for having me.
First of all, I read an article while we've been here in Baylor at Baylor about the NCAA Tournament, and the article said that if you were looking for teams that could make a big run in the NCAA tournament, look at their setters first and look at their liberos. And if you're like starting a team from scratch, like that'd be a good place to start a team. Like if you were building your own volleyball team, would those be two places where you would think that's where I want to start to build a team?
I think so because every play I feel like starts with your passers, your liberos, DSs, and then like they're gonna touch the ball every single time regardless. And I think if you have that foundation, the other hitters, front row players, key pieces will come.
You know, one of the things that happens every year is an influx of new players. You're a transfer from a university that we knew about and played about. There were lots of things, I'm sure, that went into your decision to make that transfer. But when you think back to that time when you made that commitment to come to Stephen F. Austin, is having an opportunity like this something in the back of your mind, and like those are the kind of things I want to be able to do if I make this switch?
Yeah, of course. So previously, like you said, I knew about SFA because we were in the same conference before they came over to the WAC, and they were always at the top of the Southland, and so. Yeah, I just knew SFA to be a super competitive school, and just always they made it to the tournament because when they won the conference and conference tournament multiple times, I knew that was always a chance. So
when you kind of think back, I mean, when you're in situations like this, you can't help but think back about your whole career, and it leads to nights and matches like this. What are some of the big matches in your life that stand out, either from high school days or college days? Do you have memories of a couple that are like, those were really big times in my past playing volleyball?
I think I have a few big, like the most big intense matches were probably before college. I think in my club career, I played in 2 national championships, I think. One of them we won, the other didn't go in our favor, but what else? In high school, I made it to state my senior year, and I think my sophomore year, but we made it further my senior year. But I feel like I've had a few like super intense, high-pressured matches like this.
Do you remember how much travel was involved in those? Were those like flying across the country to be at nationals and things?
One of them was in Minneapolis, I think I want to say, but yeah, I used to travel a lot for just club and all those tournaments.
When for a lot of folks that, we've had a big viewership year in college volleyball this year. A lot of conferences have been able to get matches on TV. We've seen a lot of great matches on ESPN, ESPN2, and of course, ESPN Plus has got pretty much everything now. So there are still a lot of people that will tune in to volleyball just for this, just because now it's the NCAA tournament and they're curious about it. So there will be people that maybe don't watch a lot of volleyball following along with us tonight. Your job, 2 of your main jobs, serve, receive, and floor defense, digging attacks. In your mind, like what's the difference between those two? If you were explaining that to someone who hadn't seen a lot of volleyball, when you prepare for serve receive and when you prepare to dig an attack, what are the differences that you feel and go through?
Well, I feel like for defense, everything is more of just reaction because you get to the point where people are just hitting the ball so quickly, you don't have time to think about anything. You just kind of see ball, get ball. It's very reaction based. Whereas in serve receive, you have more time. You're supposed to have more time to move to the ball, and you have more time to think. But yeah, defense is just getting the ball up, really.
If you're a young back row player and you're trying to develop all of that reaction, like how does that develop? And like you mentioned through your club years and things, but like, how does a young athlete who plays primarily on the back row get to the point where they develop reactions like that?
I just think, people say practice makes perfect or practice makes permanent, either or. Honestly, just working on the technique that you just develop it after a lot of years of doing the same thing, repetition, and eventually it's just muscle memory at that point.
And then serve receive, of course, a lot of times, like you say, reactionary in digging an attack. You know, there's some serves that are hit very hard at you, but a lot of times, you know, a serve is softer than a strong attack from a hitter. So your thought process in serve receive, what you're looking at, what you're thinking about, how you're handling your feet, your body positioning.
Just trying to get my body behind the ball, get my feet to the ball, and just, it's all about angles, but it's also like timing about when you form your excuse me, form your platform and just holding your platform.
You know, there's a lot of differences between what a libero has to do and what a middle blocker has to do, and there's just tons of skills, different skills in volleyball, each of those positions. But last night when we were at practice, I was talking to a few of the support staff that were there and watching practice, that haven't watched practice, haven't been in practices, and I mentioned them. I said, digging balls to me is one of the most difficult skills in volleyball. I think it's the most underrated skill. I hear all the time somebody say, oh, she should have been able to dig that. And I just think you need to be down there and see it for what it is. I mean, would you agree with that? That like digging balls, being hit by attackers, maybe if you like had all the skills that are difficult in volleyball, might be near the top?
Yes. I personally think it's really difficult, but I feel like even just like watching it on TV sometimes, it doesn't really show how fast the ball or how hard it's coming, as if you were like actually there, like being the one that's digging the ball. So I definitely agree with that, because you could just, like, I don't know, one thing, minor thing could be not wrong, but I just, maybe like you're not in the right place or something and you just don't get the ball.
I think that's a skill that people think, well, if you just get your body and hands in the right space, the ball, it's one thing to get to a ball, to get a platform on the ball. It's another thing to get the ball directed where you want, right?
And then there's the whole aspect of like reading your hitter and like using the block, where to go, set yourself up behind the block, you know, and just position yourself so that you can be in the right spot to try to dig the ball.
With you talking about that, that made me flash back to yesterday, and I want to ask you this too. We had a specific drill, and I loved it. I actually mentioned to the guy I was sitting next to, I'm so glad to see them like specifically practicing this, and that is libero second touch. We had an entire drill where associate head coach Evan Amstutz was drilling balls at back right setter defenders Jaden Flynn and Maddie Bork, and you were out there with Ivana Ramos and practicing handling the second touch, deciding whether or not to platform set or play the ball above your head. That's a skill that a young libero needs to develop, because there's so many times where I see people uncomfortable to play balls above their head. You're very comfortable doing that.
Yeah, I do like using my hands a lot. I feel like I've practiced that a lot over the years, but being out of system is definitely somewhere everyone needs to work on, because more oftentimes than not, like, your setter will take the first ball, and if teams are being strategic, they'll, you know, hit the ball to the setter, try to take him out, and just being able to still like stay somewhat in system and be effective with that third attack even when you're out of system is really important.
When we all travel as a group, and there are times when we're in the media room here at the hotel where the team had film, and there's times when we're all together, we're all eating, we're all in the same place. But then there's times when we're all separate. You've got to kind of flow back and forth between being relaxed and being part of a team atmosphere, being alone and being together. What are some of the things that you like to do just for your own relaxation during times like this as you prepare for a match? If you've got an hour downtime like we might have, what are the things you might do to just kind of just relax yourself?
Well, I do homework, but that's
homework is relaxing.
Not to relax, just because we miss a lot of school, so I have to, you know, meet the deadlines and due dates and stuff. I wouldn't say I do that to relax, but in terms of that, I will take naps. I love to sleep, and I love to get my rest, and I don't know, I'll just chat with my roommate or my teammates in my downtime. Honestly, just lay in bed and get some I'm like, get off my feet.
It's amazing how many times athletes say, I want to take a nap. You know, they need the rest part of it is just the sleeping part of it is their relaxation. What about the hype, though? I mean, when you get in that locker room and music's going, is there any routine? I asked Elon this yesterday. Is there anything you do the same before a match to get yourself hyped? Or is there anything in particular that you just kind of do to get your adrenaline rush right before the match?
I think you said it, just the music and kind of just getting out of my head, but also like locked into the game, like trying to put everything out of my mind and just focus on like what's ahead. And yeah, I like to dance in the locker room with my teammates and sing and just go along with the music.
Is the music, and I mean, maybe this is a forbidden question, so she may not answer. Is the music in the locker room the same? Is it the same set of songs, or does somebody just pick some playlist and put it on?
It's a mix of both. So Peyton Cerny is on aux, so she controls it usually, but she'll let people like cue songs and play whatever they want, or she'll just have a playlist going.
And I ask Elon this too, I'll pick your brain on it. Are you aware of any teammate that does have kind of a superstition or a routine? I mean, I've gotten aware this whole concept of like hype for the match. There's certain songs I like as we bus over and walk in. There's things I like to listen to just for myself, just to kind of get myself in that flow. Is there anybody who's you can sense is like doing the same thing right before a match?
I don't think so. No one comes to my mind like right off the top.
There's no like strange rituals that you're like, oh yeah, she's over there, she's got to do that.
Nothing strange. A lot of us get our hair done sometimes by our manager Day, but
oh, so Day is the one. So Day is the hairstylist of the group.
She is the team hairstylist. She just gets it done so quick, and it's always looking really good. So
wow. Okay, I didn't know that about Day. I'll have to ask her about that. And who are again talking about the road to get to a place like this? Who are people in your life that are instrumental in making you a successful volleyball player? I mean, you were voted Libero of the Year in our conference. I mean that takes a village. There's a lot of people that had to pour into you through the years to put you in a position to win an award like that. But who are the bubble ups? Who are the people that really pop up in your brain as like, they really helped me get here?
First would be my dad, just because him and my sister were the ones who got me into volleyball. My dad's a coach, so he's never actually coached my team, but he's always been my coach every year, I could say, because he would just devote all his time into staying late after practice or whatever, just finding time to give me extra reps and help coach me. And then my sister, I've always looked up to her. She played volleyball for me, and like I said, she got me into it, and I wanted to be just like her. So them two for sure. I've had a lot of really great coaches in my career. I want to say that helped me get to where I am today. And probably my last few coaches of my club years probably really played a big part in everything I'm doing today.
But your dad was kind of the center of training you and kind of introducing you and working with you through the volleyball world, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so we are going to have a little bit of downtime after we finish up right here, but then we're going to go to a pregame meal. If Haley Hoang were in charge of having pregame meal, what would all of us be eating right before NCAA tournament game?
Well, if you ask anyone on the team, they would tell you that I love to eat. So I guess that's a good question for me. Probably a variety of like pastas. I love pasta, fruit, just endless fruits, a little fruit buffet. Why can't I think of anything else? Potatoes. I feel like potatoes are the most like versatile food, and I love every single way you can make them. So like mashed potatoes, maybe not French fries, that wouldn't be too healthy.
This is a carb load / fruit.
A lot of carbs. Salad. I love salad. So a salad bar with a bunch of different ingredients. Yeah, and those probably the main things, but I'm sure other things would pop up in my head, but off the top of my head, that.
So pasta, like, do you have a favorite pasta dish? Or is just any kind of pasta?
Any kind, really. I'm not picky.
All right, I would go with this: pasta, salad, fruit. I mean, I heard a lot of good stuff and potatoes and all of that. Straight carbs. Right before the match. Haley Hoang in action tonight against Baylor University. Libero of the Year, second team all WAC. 540 digs on the season coming in tonight. Just a huge total. You've been so instrumental in getting us to this point. Congratulations to you, and thank you for this time.
Thank you.